We're back. Nope, no, we're not back. Oh God.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, we're back. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
we're back, everybody. Um, Welcome to Wednesday night pints with your favorite drinking buddies. I'm kidding. It's your favorite podcast. These guys are drinking water, bang energy. Man, it is 9:50 at night. And if you might be wondering who
It's
this
10:50.
beautiful looking gentleman is on the bottom top. I don't know where he's going to be in post on the recording. This is our producer Corey. We finally
What's up,
talked him into joining us for an episode. He will also be filling in for me next week. We'll get to that later in the show at the end. But
Also, I'm diehard. It's
I
almost
don't know.
11 o'clock here. Here I am
Yeah,
with the boys.
yeah, but my team sucks. So my football team sucks. My basketball team sucks. Ben, if you want to lead us into the first part of the show, that'd be great.
Yes, while you're drinking, we will start recapping the week last week. So last week we previewed Oregon versus Iowa. I think I wouldn't say we would have expected it to be 18-16, but obviously a gutsy win for Oregon. They still have a tough schedule ahead with USC Washington. I don't know if y'all have any comments on Oregon gutting it out against Iowa in horrible weather.
That game was so aesthetically pleasing because it was Iowa in like a snow flurry game. I don't think the snow like actually stuck to the ground. I do have one thing. Dante Moore, if he decides to come back, now granted he was a Heisman, he was talked about possibly could be a Heisman favorite just because he's an Oregon quarterback. But if he decides to come back, if he replicates that ball he threw on, I think it was third down, the one that got them like officially in field goal range, if he replicates that, I think he'll be the best quarterback in the country next season outside of Mario Taylor. But also at Iowa, I don't know if they teach their running backs or their receivers how to tap their feet in bounds, like you saw in the Indiana game, which that was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. Um, but the guy literally jumped out of bounds when he caught the ball. Like there was no, and then also Big Ten refs. How did you call that good? Like that, no part of that was. I watched it live and I'm thinking that's no good. Okay, I was only up by one, and they call it good. I'm like, are they blind? Or because now, granted, I saw it from I'm also seeing it from a high up angle. I know it's not good, and the guy who's standing 10 feet in front of it says it's good. Anyway,
Wait,
I
how'd
think it
you
was
watch
good for
football?
CBS. It was a CBS game.
Okay.
It was a CBS game. Yeah, it wasn't
I'm still,
ESPN
I'm
because
still not watching any because I can't. So
On
well,
that
yeah,
note,
CBS only
apparently
would have.
there's positive momentum. Hopefully that.
Yeah, but
I did get my
apparently
$20 credit.
ESPN. Yeah, I have to apply for that. Which okay, we're not going to get into that. But why do I have to apply for it? I should just get it
You
anyway.
don't. You just gotta
But
click a link and it goes to your account.
it goes through it. Okay, so but I just don't. I think for Oregon, this is a good win because they're more than likely going to have to go on the road in the play in the playoffs, just because the way the rankings I think might play out.
Yeah.
But it's it's good to get a quality road win in a tough environment, especially when you're traveling two time zones over. So that's my one thought is that Dante Moore I think is a baller, and he's like second best quarterback in the country. Actually, no, third best quarterback because I forgot Austin Simmons is going to still be at Ole Miss.
And Arch
So
Manning's coming back, baby.
yeah, but
Arch Manning's coming back. Austin
yeah,
Simmons probably will not be at Ole Miss.
oh
Probably not.
well, whoever Ole Miss's and Memphis's quarterback is, so Dante Moore will take fourth behind those guys and Mario Taylor. But but yeah, so that's my 2 cents, and then obviously Iowa. Like let's learn how to jump in bounds, not out of bounds, and Big Ten refs. Like one guy made a heck of a call, calling that good live
Uh,
in the Indiana game, and the other
the
guy
Indiana
made a
Penn
terrible
State
call.
game. That was a
Indiana Penn State,
beautiful catch.
but then the ref calling
Yep.
it
Let's go
live
ahead and talk.
good, and then the ref
Let's go ahead
calling
and
it
talk
live
about.
good in the Iowa game was terrible. But we'll
Let's
talk
go ahead and
about.
talk
We
about
might talk
Indiana
about some of
Penn
that later.
State. 27-24. Indiana pulls it out last second, like last 30 seconds, game-winning
30
touchdown.
seconds.
I mean, we know
I have a
Aaron's
couple
got a
of
lot to
things.
say because he saw Brandon Walker's rant about how beautiful he made that referee made that call. Like, I think Brandon Walker talked about it for 10 minutes. Of like,
He did,
what he's like
and
the fact that he called that live. He's right there, and the fact that I was like, oh my gosh, dude, calm down. It was a great catch and a great call. Don't get me wrong, but dang, Brandon Walker.
no, and then also Fernando Mendoza is not winning the Heisman.
He's favored
He
right
might.
now. Though. I just checked.
No, I thought Julian is. Is Julian not favored?
2. Julian's 2.
They might be like tied, or it's like super close
There might
odds.
be.
It's
But
super.
I,
It's
I,
super close, but
Mendoza.
for
it's super close.
Fernando.
Whoever wins the Big Ten, like Fernando needs. I guess what I'm saying is Gus Johnson's call to say that's your Heisman winner when he literally had spent like the 2 or 3 drives before he threw what could have been a backbreaking pick, um, a back-breaking pick in the game. For him to call that as the Heisman winner right then, I thought was a little premature. But in his defense, he did leave a Heisman type drive. And if you are looking for a Heisman moment, Julian Saban probably doesn't have his. Fernando does have one now because it's that throw. But for Indiana's sake, it does raise question. And I'm surprised because we're recording this Wednesday after after the playoff committee ranked them still number 2. I'm surprised they kept them at 2 just because of how bad Penn State has been. Penn State's dropped their last 6 games, and to still keep them at 2 with that kind of win, where you have A&M, who's also undefeated, but they haven't really had a close game. They haven't had a close call no matter who they played. They went into Death Valley, and I know LSU is terrible, but they still dropped 40 plus, beat LSU by 20 over 20, and Indiana, a similar spot, needs a last second miracle touchdown to win. So if I have any takeaway, it's like this does give me some pause on Indiana as far as I think they're still a great team, a top 3 team, yes, top 4 team, absolutely, but it does give me pause as far as okay when they play Ohio State in a couple weeks in the Big Ten title game, are we going to see a blowout or are we going to see Indiana? Is Indiana playing down to the competition, or is that just or is that just a one little blender that you sometimes see in a 12-game gauntlet of a season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Penn State gave them their best shot, and they're still a really good team regardless of the win-loss record. And Indiana did pull it out, so I think I would have been fine if they moved down to 3, but I'm also fine with them staying at 2. Georgia, Mississippi State.
Whoa, I want to chip in real quick. Sorry.
Yes,
I think
yes,
also
Ben.
too. I think the
recording.
committee looks at like the schedule too, and like A&M still has like a little bit of a tough schedule, but I think if they do win out, they could bump up to 2. Like if they beat Texas,
Yeah.
Oh no,
if they win the next week,
if
and they beat
they
Texas, they're for sure 2.
if like that's the other thing. Like if A&M wins out and goes 13-0, wins the SEC, they're definitely going to be the number 2 seed. And at that point, all you're playing for is bowls. And I'm not off the top of my head. I can't remember what the quarterfinal bowl games are this year because it's the New Year. It's just replacing the New Year Six.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, you're just playing for okay. Like, are you playing for sites? Are you playing for actual competitiveness? And we don't have to talk about the Georgia Mississippi State game. Then I mean that was
Yeah, that let me down on my parlay though. I don't know if y'all saw my screenshot I sent in. Got a little greedy. I missed about like 2 or 3 games.
I just have one thing to say. Because we won't talk about them in the Missouri game. Kamara Taylor is the man. Blake Shapen starts again. Okay, if he starts in the Egg Bowl, okay. But I want it known on this podcast that at least one person is backing Kamara Taylor to start these last 2 games. But that's just all I got to say. I think he is the future of Mississippi State. I think Blake Shapen in the years to come will be remembered fondly at Mississippi State. But we'll see. But my takes on is that Georgia just kicked the heck out of us. They killed us from pillar to post after this first quarter, and I think you were looking to maybe get Georgia in a look ahead spot with Texas next week in Athens, and we go down, we score the first time, we hold them to three, we get a turnover. It's like, oh my gosh, are we going to do it? And then no, it was quickly after that we were not going to do it. So, but yeah, that's my only thoughts. I think it's, and again, we're still 8-2 against the spread. We're still America's favorite team to bet on.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
but
Well,
yeah,
you're
so
so.
there you go.
I, I'll just say too
We got
that playing Georgia is a good like measuring stick. It's a good gauge of like what you need to improve on. Like
right. Yeah.
what I guess 2 or 3 years ago, whenever we went to Georgia and got destroyed, like almost got destroyed by Georgia at Georgia. Like the next year, we beefed up our offensive and defensive line. We're like, oh, we are not even close. We thought we were competitive, and then we played Georgia, and we were
You
like, oh,
see,
you got
you see
exposed.
where the gap is. That's the thing. You see where the gap is, and that's what I think about the SEC this year is that in the two games that we've gotten that Mississippi State has not covered the spread, they've gotten blown out in, are against the two teams that arguably are the two best or two of the top three teams in the conference with Georgia and A&M. So that's my one somewhat caveat is like you've seen okay like you're really close to beating the Texases, the Tennessees, but there's still this big gap between the Texas, the Tennessees, and the Georgias and the Texas A&Ms.
Yep, two more games. We'll just run through these real quick. Texas A&M throttled Missouri 38-17. Not really surprised there. Missouri had their third string quarterback, and A&M's offense is unstoppable right now. And then BYU beat Texas Tech 29-7. And
You flip.
Flip it.
That's the other way around.
or yeah, Texas Tech beat BYU 29-7, and that was kind of what I predicted. So
Yeah, I think that's just quick on that. A&M Missouri. Hopefully that repeats itself this week with Missouri's performance. But with the Texas Tech, I think that just goes to prove the Big 12 or BYU is being propped up again. Was propped up again by a bad schedule that led to them to be undefeated this late, and Texas Tech is just that team this year in the Big 12, and they're a really good defense. They have an offense that's going to keep them in games and score points, but that defense, that Rodriguez kid, is an absolute dog, and that defense is alone, and that's what they pour their money into. You talk about what you need to pour your money into with the Ole Miss, the litmus test. Texas Tech realized, okay, if we're going to win, we just need to pour our money into the defense, and that's what they did. You see it on the field, and they have playmakers at times. Yeah, they have playmakers who can make plays on offense, but they really don't have to in the majority of these majority of these Big 12 games because that defense is so good.
Mm-hmm.
okay, Aaron, you want to lead us into the ranked games, or Corey, got any comments? Okay,
Yes. So ranked games this week. We're going to start with I think I don't want to say I don't want to put too much on it, but it's where College Game Day is. So I guess we'll just start with it. It's the 11 a.m. kick. Notre Dame visiting Pitt. Notre Dame favored by 12.5. Notre Dame 9. Pitt 22 in the most recent rankings. And I'll just say this, Pat Narduzzi, you're a joke. You can't sit up here and say this game doesn't mean anything when you have College Game Day coming for the first time in 2 decades to your school. You have a top 10 team coming in. You can't just sit here and say, well, this game really doesn't matter. It's not a must-win. At this point in the season, if you're trying to make a case to where, hey, if we win our conference, we deserve a bid to the playoff, you should at least say, oh yeah, it's the next game on our schedule. We need to worry about this game. Instead, you're saying, oh, we can lose 100-0 and we'll be fine. It doesn't matter. If you lose 100-0 and you win the ACC, the playoff committee might leave you out, bud. I'm just saying. But that's all I got to say about this. I think Notre Dame, quick witness on it, quick look at it. I think Notre Dame covers the 12.5. I just don't think, for the sitting head coach to say that just leads me to believe that Pitt might not even be trying in this game. And you might see an Indiana, Ohio State kind of deal last year where they're just trying to make it close and not a blowout. So if that's the case and that's all you're playing for is to not make it a blowout, you're trying to lose by like 17 or 20, I think give me Notre Dame at the points.
Corey?
Yeah, are you sure he wasn't like trying to like just play the game down, or was he like actually like I don't give a care, or was he just trying to like it's just another game?
He might.
I didn't
He might
watch
have been
it,
playing the
so
game down, but his exact comments were, "We can lose this game 110 to 10, 60 to nothing, whatever. It does not matter because it's not an ACC game." He said, "If we win
oh
our
okay,
next two games, he was like, if we win our next two games, we'll get to the ACC title game, and then we have a chance to play for
yeah,
our playoff lives there." But
I
I'm
get that, but I
saying
don't.
that I'm saying I'm not saying like he's a loser for saying that, but it's like you can't say that when you have all that when you're going to be the game of the week, and if you're going to be the
Yeah,
game of, like in essence with game day being there, you're being called the game of the week,
right.
and so to be called the game of the week and then make that comment of hey we can lose the game 110 to 10, it's okay.
I
It's
get it.
like,
Yeah.
but is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have said that, but still, obviously this game matters, so you can try to win the ACC. Um, just going off my professional team in Pittsburgh, the Steelers, they have not won a primetime game all year long. Looked really sloppy and bad. And also, I rode with Notre Dame all season, 26.5, 20.5 spreads. Uh, I'm going to say give me Notre Dame the points. That's just because I've been going with them all year. I'm confident that they can do it. I like C.J. Carr. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I'm pretty sure he's like top 12 or whatever on the Heisman list or whatever, but um, I'm not going to doubt Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman's not going to come into a game flat, hopefully. So give me Notre Dame.
Yep, I agree with both of you. I think it is going to be like a CJ Carr versus Heinzel, the freshman for Pitt, the QB. He's been playing lights out. He had like 400 passing yards a couple weeks ago. Um, so I think the only way Pitt can win is if he has like just an electric game. I'll say the other thing for Pitt is they have the number 3 rush defense. They're only allowing 80 yards rushing per game. Notre Dame's rushing for almost 200 yards per game. So that's kind of a matchup to watch. 2 years ago, I pulled this stat. Notre Dame beat Pittsburgh 58-7. Uh, I don't know how much better Pitt got in 2 years. I know Notre Dame's still really good. That was the Sam Hartman team. They had Audric Estime, who's in it. I think with the Broncos, maybe he ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's going to be closer than 58-7, but I do think Notre Dame covers the 21.5. No, 12.5. So I think Pitt can give them problems. Obviously, they have a good passing attack. Notre Dame's secondary's been susceptible to giving up big plays. And then if Pitt can stop Notre Dame in the run game and make it all on CJ Carr, like it could be a game. That's a lot that Pitt needs to go right for. So
I also just don't see like with the way the head coach talks. I just don't see like.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's
if you
crazy.
get that negative energy, it's going to trickle down, And
That's
so
crazy.
I don't know. Hearing that side makes you think like it might be a bigger blowout than we think. But also, like you said, like there's a way that Pitt can give him trouble. They stop Jeremiah Love. They force him to just pass, become one dimensional. Like obviously, it can become a game real quick.
Yep. Well, and then they have the freshman quarterback, so it's like maybe the coach is just like, oh, it's not a big. It's like any other game. It doesn't matter. Just like
and I get that.
Go sling it for 500 yards, like whatever.
Yeah. Like it's just another game. Doesn't matter if game day's tagged to or whatever. Like I get that, but saying like it doesn't matter if we get beat by 100, I'm like that's a little crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, what we got next?
So next top 25 game is going to be Iowa going to Southern California to face USC. USC's favored by 6.5. 2:30 kick, so that's 12 a.m. kick or 12:30 p.m. kick in LA. USC 17. Iowa's ranked 21st in the most recent playoff polling. Over under set at 49.5. Corey, I'll start with you on this one.
What's the spread for this one?
6.5.
6.5. Okay. Obviously we chatted about this a little bit in the group chat. I just I've seen USC play. Like at the beginning of the year against who was it, Illinois? It was a close game. Um, I don't know. I like Lincoln Riley, but he hasn't really proved himself at USC. Um, and I'm all about tight end U. Like Iowa's, like they're just gritty and they're a Big Ten team that like knows how to win. But also like USC is trying to prove themselves in the Big Ten. I think I have Iowa covering that 6.5. Maybe even winning because I don't know. Lincoln Riley likes to choke, so
Yeah, that's the
I
thing
would
is
trade lightly on the
that
money line. But I like the spread.
that's the thing is that, and this is a game that I think I mentioned at the beginning of the season when we were starting taking bets how Big Ten teams traveling, like ever since the conference expanded, Big Ten teams traveling to like 2 time zones over, like the teams that are traveling those many time zones, like they don't really cover the spread. But this year, I think it's kind of somewhat evened out with certain games. But like Indiana going to Oregon, Oregon going to Penn State, stuff like that. The thing with this is that, and it's something that's not really being talked about, is USC does still somewhat have a chance because they haven't played Indiana, they don't play Ohio State. To they somewhat have a chance to backdoor their way to the Big Ten title game. Now it's going to take a lot of like help in math, which I'm not good at either. Well, the math part, I'm good at helping people.
Helping.
But 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 I just think with this, you gotta go with. I mean, Maleva, how do you say his name? That's the guy I bet on
Mayava.
UNLV. That was the guy I bet
Como
on.
te llama?
He was whatever. But that was the guy I bet on when he was at UNLV. I mean, he has won some bets, but with this, I'm probably going to take the Iowa because, especially like I'm looking at it right now, it's probably going to jump to 7.5. So I would love to take it at 7.5. But I'll take them at 6.5 just because, kind of what Corey said. This is going to be a grinded out game. Iowa's going to grind it out. Gorowski, however you say his name. I don't know quarterbacks' names. I'm also a little adult beverage in anyway. But I just think Iowa has a really good chance of finishing what they didn't finish last week. Like they had a chance to beat Oregon, straight up spread, whatever. Like they had a chance last week to beat Oregon, and they didn't see it through. This is a team that I think has some playmakers on offense, but they were really good defense. And what USC in Lincoln Riley's tenure has not done well, and Lincoln Riley in general, what he does not do well against is great defenses. Like in the playoff, that's what he would always run into against was really good defense who once they figured out your scheme, you were toast. And so with the Kirk Ferentz type team, I think they'll be able to figure out that scheme very quickly, and they probably have already. So give me Iowa to cover that spread as well.
I might want to change my answer if you're tailing me.
Well, that's your call.
I will say like I'm leaning on the under. I think 49.5 with
It's too many. That's too many points with an Iowa game because Iowa's not going to allow you to score 40 plus, and they aren't going to score like
over 20.
We over 20. So this is not going to be a team. This is not going to be a high scoring shootout type game. But
I like that under.
I've been banned from taking totals by the two of these guys. So I'm not going to any of that.
That's true.
We can bring up the tape. We can bring up the tape of why we don't let you do that anymore.
Oh no, we can't. It's just
total points. What was it? Total points for Ole Miss against Washington State. 80.
Washington State. It was like
48 and a half.
Like
they scored 36.
It was 36, and they scored like what 24.
24, 21, yeah.
Whatever it was that ruined my parlay. So.
I am gonna say I'm gonna go against y'all. I think I'm taking USC. I don't really understand. I don't understand why the spread's so high. Like my gut feeling is the spread should be lower, and that's why I think that y'all's picks are reasonable. But I'm gonna lean into it and take USC because maybe Vegas knows something I don't. I would think that I would keep it close, and USC does struggle in big games recently, especially the past year and 2 years. But we'll see. I'm going to take USC to cover.
Yeah, if it was
And
at like three and
like
a half or 2.5, I don't even know if I could make a decision because like that's really, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Well, but I do wonder because, and obviously, like we mentioned this. I don't know if it was pre-show right after we started. Like you do get 3 points for being the home team, but also I wonder. Like I did mention when we started talking about this game, how Big Ten teams against the spread, well, like the last couple of years with the expansion was bad as far as
Oh
teams
yeah, yeah,
traveling.
yeah.
So I do wonder, has Vegas somewhat keened up to that and been like, okay, like we do need to put a couple extra points towards USC or towards whichever the team is that's hosting that game with the team traveling a couple time zones. Like, so
Yeah.
has like, is that the reason why it's so big? Because I do agree, like this is a game that should be a pick 'em, but I do wonder, like, is the travel that I was having to take somewhat expanding that spread?
Mm, that's fair. Good point.
Yeah, sometimes make those.
It's a rare.
This is a
It's a
game
rarity.
it's a rarity. This is a game that I am really intrigued by the spread, and it makes me wonder if it's somewhat of a rat line. But Oklahoma only being underdogs by 5.5 in Tuscaloosa is really intriguing to me. Like, is that like give me y'all's like? Do y'all think that's a true line?
What's
Do
the
y'all think
under?
it's
What's the
teams
over under?
46.5? So it's Alabama's
Oh,
favored by
okay.
5.5. That's this game we're going to talk about. Number 4 Alabama hosting number 11 Oklahoma. Oklahoma, right? They're the first team out right now. If they win this game, they're for sure probably in the playoff. If they lose this game, they're for sure out. It's their third loss, having already lost to Texas and Ole Miss. Bama can probably afford this loss, maybe not really. Have it sitting only at 4, and it probably would knock them out of SEC title game contention, or it make it to where it's a little confusing as far as tiebreakers. But give me, like, y'all think 5.5, is that a rat line? Is that a true line? Like, because again, 3 points. That means on a neutral field, they're saying that this game's a 2.5 point spread for Bama.
Which is kind of nuts.
I don't think it's a rat line personally. I think it's pretty correct. I think OU's defense bounced back in a big way after Ole Miss kind of exposed them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they bounced back, and then I think their offense did a good job against, was it Tennessee? They won that game. So
Yeah,
I think that OU's playing better ball than they were prior to the Ole Miss game and during the Ole Miss game. I think they just needed a little bit of a wake up call and some areas that they needed to improve to be exposed. Ole Miss exposed those. I think the one thing, and I said this in my solo podcast, the one thing that OU struggle like Ole Miss exposed was like the slot receivers and the tight ends for Ole Miss were getting open, were making plays. I think Bama can do some of that. Their slot receivers and tight ends are really skilled and talented, but I think, is that going to be still a weakness? Is Alabama going to be able to exploit that? Ty Sims is great over the middle of the field, so maybe, but I think Oklahoma's defense figured some things out after Ole Miss and is gonna they're gonna cover the spread. I think they could pull off the upset just like they did last year. Obviously, Simpson's playing way better than Milrow was at that time, but
Yeah.
but Oklahoma's quarterback is probably is a lot better than the quarterback was last year with Arnold versus Jackson, with not Arnold, but well, Jackson Arnold, and then what's his name? Why am I forgetting that?
Mateer,
Mateer?
Mateer. I was thinking Mayer, like the
John.
singer, but yeah,
John Mayer.
yeah. Um, but I just think with my thing is that Bama has looked like Bama's the best one loss team as far as rankings goes in the in the country so far. But like I think there's still just part of me that keeps thinking back to the way that Castellanos ran down their throats in that game. And so when you have John Mateer and the way he can, and as the season goes on, that hand's gonna get more and more healthy. So he's gonna be more confident to run the ball, and he was still running the ball You saw I mean, he was having fumbles, but he was still running the ball and you know had the guts to run the ball even after the hand surgery when he came back. So it does raise the question: is that going to rear its ugly head again against the Bama defense? Like, is Bama's defense been playing like, great ball since that week one? But is there some sort of magic that Mateer can bring out that does make this game a tight contest and does give Oklahoma a chance to win the game late? Because that's the one thing is that Alabama hasn't really had is a close game late.
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't really been in a, and that goes. I mean that's the truth for a lot of teams. A lot of teams really haven't had like a tight game late. Oklahoma has been in those games late. Like they were in the game against Michigan. That was a tight game, but yeah.
Bama, South Carolina.
Yeah,
That's right. That was during the Mississippi State collapse against Texas, so I kind of blocked that Saturday out from my memory completely.
That's
but
right.
You're right. That was during that window of hell. But yeah. But even in that game with Tyson, like I talk about Ty Simpson, even that game, like it took Bernard to take a direct snap for the game when he touched on it, and like they were like trying to they were trying to run the clock out, and Bernard just ran for a touchdown, and then even the tying score I think was like that direct snap to Bernard or like a little swing to Bernard. So it's, I also think that Oklahoma's defense is slightly better than South Carolina's. But
way
it is
better.
in Tuscaloosa.
Way better.
Yeah, not slightly. They are way better, but it is in Tuscaloosa, so like that does.
Are you taking the spread or anything, or over under? Or
I'm just gonna say Bama wins the game. The spread's a little too close for my comfort, but yeah, I'll take the spread. I mean, I'll take Bama money line and over under. I'd probably lean more towards.
No, I'm not touching.
I lean more towards it. I don't. I want to touch it because I think this is a 24-20 type game. Like this is a game that's going to be defense. Like there's going to be a lot of defense. Early, there's going to be a lot of offense. I think early, I could easily see both teams going up and down the field each first time they have the ball, and then after that, I think each defense settles in and it's a nip and tuck game from there.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like the game we saw on Monday night where no team scores until like the third quarter.
I don't know. I think there's going to be like a big play early to start someone up. But my thoughts. I have two thoughts. That are going to factor into this game. So I think Venable's defense is the best it's looked since he's taken the job in Oklahoma, since leaving Clemson. I think that, they actually look good. They look consistent. And also, I'm not the biggest Kalen DeBoer fan at all. And I feel like we kind of saw it when he was at Washington, that when he gets complacent, they kind of slide a little bit. That's what makes me think. I think OU is going to cover that 5.5. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they'll cover. I think it might be like a 3-point game. But Venable's defense. I mean, if they step up in T-Town and can get a couple stops on Ty Simpson, like you said, Ben, I think it's a really close game. So I mean, I think it's going to be. It's probably on this slate here. It's one of my favorites to watch. Until the next game. I think the next game is going to be really good. But I'm looking forward to that.
But will you be able to?
I don't know. I just think.
Will you be able to watch it?
OU will win, but they'll definitely cover that spread.
But Corey, will you be able to watch
I think some.
Huh?
I said, will you be able to watch it?
Hopefully, Google and ESPN or Disney like this. If not, we're going to B-Dubs, baby. Taking Shep to B-Dubs. But anyway, what were you saying, Ben?
What were you about
to comment?
I was about to say... Oh, Josh Pate brought up a good point. I think it was last week talking about Alabama that Kalen DeBoer at Washington, when they had their 12-1 season, went to the national title game, a lot of their games were one possession, super close games. Even in their wins, they weren't blowing people out. So something to keep in mind when these spreads are not that big. It's maybe it's because the board doesn't win big generally.
Yeah, you had to buy points when they went to the national title game. You had to buy points. You had to buy 2.5. Whenever the spread was tight, you had to bet them then. Like if they were, I think I took a bet the first time they played Oregon, and I bet them just win. But then I added like a bunch of like crazy stuff to like boost my odds, and I ended up winning it because they didn't cover the spread, but they won the game.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just my take on that. Like I just feel like I don't know. DeBoer just he gets lucky. I'm not a big fan. I don't think he should have got that job. But that's for a different. That's different day, different take.
That's for a different. That's an off season podcast. We
Yeah.
can shoot.
But anyway, that's fine. You know who deserves to be there? John Gruden. I'm just kidding.
I mean, how many jobs is John Gruden going to have in the SEC by the end of this show or the end of
All
this
of them.
season? All of them, honestly. He might take Ole Miss's job. I'm kidding, Ben. I told you last week Lane Kiffin's not leaving.
I don't think he is.
So
I think he's staying.
I don't think it is. So that leads us into biggest matchup, in my opinion. It's number 5 Georgia, number 10 Texas. It's just like the last game we talked about in the sense of one team, if they win, they're cut. If one team wins, they go from out to in. Because I think I misspoke. Texas, I think, is actually the first team out. Oklahoma's the second team out because of the ACC ranked team being lower, and the G5 obviously with South Florida. So Texas is the first team out. Georgia is obviously the 5 seed right now. And I said it last week. I didn't have Georgia making the playoff. Of course, I had them losing to Mississippi State, and we saw that didn't happen. But is Arch Manning, has he figured it out? Like, he popped off against Mississippi State, obviously, before he got hurt, and then he played great against Vandy. And I think I don't even know if they played anybody. That might have been on a bye week, or it was maybe no one in the SEC type deal last week. But they look like they figured it out on offense. The thing is that they also looked like that last year with Quinn Ewers, and then Georgia just blitzed them at home. And this is obviously in Athens. It's a night game. Georgia, relatively, not they lost this game last year. So the spread's at 5.5. Ben, I'm going to kick it off with you. What is your take on this? Over under 48.5, by the way, as well.
I'm not buying that Texas offense is kicking into gear just yet. After like two decent games, so I think Georgia actually wins pretty comfortably. I don't really think they sweat it out. The score may be close at the end, like similar to how Texas Vandy looked super close at the end, even though it was a blowout for the most of the game. I think something like that could happen, but I think Georgia covers and wins in a fairly dominant way.
Is it 8.5? Is that what you said?
No, 5.5. It's 5.5. 48.5 is the over under.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that either. I think you bring up a good point, Ben. Like, yeah, Georgia's looking really good. Gunner looks like he's comfortable, and also like when it comes to coach, I also like when it comes to big games like these. I also like to look at coaching matchup, and I think like 9 times out of 10, I'll take Kirby. You know what I mean? Like he's a Saban prodigy. Like I mean, so is Sark. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Kirby just knows what he's doing. Part of me at the beginning of the week was like, maybe Texas, like take Texas money line. The money's good, whatever. But I just don't know if I trust Arch quite too much yet. Just because he has struggled. But to Texas's credit, they are still 7-2. I feel like a lot of people have been talking about how bad they are, but they are 7-2. Yes, they lost to Florida and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he looked terrible in that Ohio State game. Don't get me wrong, but I mean they're still 7-2.
Well, they lost. Those are the games they lost, but they also went to overtime against Kentucky and overtime against Mississippi State and should have lost.
But Ole Miss lost to Kentucky last year when they shouldn't have lost. And that screwed them.
No, I mean I'm not saying Kentucky's bad, but
you're saying Kentucky's bad.
Kentucky's worse this year, though. Well, no, because I
think they're worse.
So they're probably not worse this year.
They were worse at the beginning of the year when Texas played them. Now that they're playing this quarterback that's not Calzada, they're actually they actually look decent. Mm-hmm. Their defense is always going to be pretty good. It's just they've had some offensive issues.
But no,
Kentucky,
anyway, give me Georgia in the points.
nice.
I'll probably end up taking Georgia. I think my thing with that is
You going money line or are you
because
going
no,
points?
I'll go points because I think you're gonna because in all these games we talk about, like we talked about the hype of them, like a lot of them are somewhat hyped up, but then I think there's still a gap, and there's still a gap. I think, especially in the SEC, between the top of the SEC and the middle pack of the SEC. And Texas, contrary to being the SEC last year, their first year making the SEC title game, I think there's still a gap between them and Georgia because like they kind of got a easy road to the SEC title game last year. Like the teams that they played a 2-10 Mississippi State. They played like every team they played on their schedule. It's the same teams they played this year. So like they played Florida, they played Mississippi State, they played Kentucky, they played Georgia, they lost to Georgia. They didn't have to. They played Oklahoma, who was down. They didn't have to play any really tough games, and they still. But like when they had to play a team, which was Georgia last year, they lost, and then they go to the semifinal and they lose to Ohio State. So I think there's still a gap in the SEC that is not being that talked about as much between Georgia and Texas. People think that that Texas is with Georgia. I don't think they are. So my money is going to go towards Georgia and the money line, or excuse me, Georgia and the spread, and I might actually alt it up to like 7.5, 8.5, because Georgia at home.
Oh my God!
They relatively don't lose these games, and I know they lost to Bama, but I also think that Bama is like Kirby's kryptonites, even with Saban not being there.
That's fair.
So give me Georgia in the points.
Yeah, I'm
How
glad
much
you
is
brought
that?
up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm glad you brought up the home, like Georgia being at home, like that's a big factor as well.
True.
And that's what I was meaning with the Bama question, like is because like again like if the books are truly giving you 3 points and they're saying hey at a neutral site like if this is the SEC title game this is only 2.5 point spread. Stockton I think has shown you more because okay Mississippi State common opponent same site they both played in Starkville. Georgia blew us out. That game was only 20 points. It could have been 50. Texas needed a 17-point comeback with 9 minutes left, and our defensive lineman hitting Arch after he threw the ball 10 seconds after he threw the ball and getting a roughing the passer penalty for them to make that comeback. And Georgia just took it to us and blew us out. So common opponent, same site. Georgia looked a lot better.
I don't know how Arch played against Vandy, bro. His against Mississippi State, his head hit the ground so hard.
So hard, so hard.
Well, and the other thing is,
How is
he
he
pass
not in
protocol?
protocol still?
well, and the other thing with him with like the Vandy game was, and not to bring him up because I bring him up all the time, but like Brandon Walker said, this is that Sarkisian just figured out, hey, if I get the ball to my playmakers, they're going to make plays. Because his yards against Vandy were ballooned by a screen pass to Wingo on the first play that went 75 yards, and it's the same play
Yeah.
they ran against Mississippi State that went 60 something yards. So I just don't. Georgia's not going to allow a 75-yard play on the first play. They're going to be expecting you to take a shot, and Georgia's athletes on defense are a whole lot better than Vandy's, a whole lot better than Mississippi State's. So I don't think
I mean,
they're.
I think it goes back to Kirby's tenure and his maturity, and his being in the game for so long. He's not going to let that go.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Mississippi
he's
State,
not
like
going to.
Levy or like Vandy's coach. Like Kirby's
Well,
too
and
seasoned
he's
to
not
let
going.
that slide.
Exactly. He's not like Kirby's going to like put a defense in there that's going to be like on play one and drive one that's going to be prepared for the smoke screens, but also going to be prepared for the ball over the top. And that is the difference between, like you said, a seasoned head coach and a non-seasoned head coach, and also a defensive-minded head coach versus a non-defensive-minded head coach in Levy.
And I think if
And
if Texas wants to stay in this game, they're going to have to hit big plays, and I just don't see Kirby or that Georgia State defense giving up, or not Georgia State, sorry, that Georgia defense giving up too many big plays against a
Yeah.
struggling Texas offense.
Yeah, it's a CJ Allen game. Middle linebacker for Georgia, he's going to be all over the field, making play after play. But I'll say I think Sark could beat Kirby eventually if he stay. I mean, he may go to the NFL after this year, but he could beat Kirby. I mean, his offense obviously he has ability. I just think what it can he call the offensive plays that he needs to beat Georgia's defense with Arch at this
Yeah.
moment. I don't know.
I mean, obviously you've seen Sark's offense like thrive, but that's because he's had like, I think Mac Jones is like he was a smart quarterback. He knew how to run the offense. Not the most athletic, but he was still an athletic quarterback. But he knew what to execute, and I think that's
Yeah.
where Arch is a little bit behind. Like he's athletic, but he doesn't really understand that because it is a difficult offense. So I just think he might need some more time, but like if Sark can have another year, I think Arch will be way better to
Yeah,
understand the
and
offense.
they need some better receivers. Like last year, they had Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond. Like they had some
Hmm.
speedy freaks, and this year they just have Ryan Wingo and then Whittingstone or whatever. He's all right, but he's not those guys. So
Yeah, I
I don't
mean
know.
that's why they're in the NFL now. So that's why they're playing on Sundays.
They need some help at the receiver position.
Yeah. Alrighty, what's next, boys?
Well, it's the favorite segment for everybody to lose their money on and fade us. It's our lock for the week.
Oh,
Uh,
also crazy take. This is not in a lock or a parlay or anything. I think Clemson might actually beat Louisville this week.
I was thinking that too. I was like, I saw that Clemson's 4-5, but I'm like, leave it up to Louisville to lose this game. And I was like,
Yeah.
it could happen. And the
and that's a
ACC
Friday.
is so weird. The
And
ACC is so
that's
weird this year. It really is anyone's
and that's
conference.
and that's
Yep.
an ACC Friday night game. And that's the kind of game with Miami you saw a couple weeks ago. They were
Against
hosting
Louisville.
All the hype, yeah, they were hosting Louisville. All the hype was with them. They were undefeated, number 2 in the country, whatever, and they lost. And I think a couple weeks or at the beginning, like near the beginning of the season, that was Florida State undefeated. Friday night went to Virginia, lost. So like this has been a terrible spot for the teams near the top of the ACC. Louisville is, even though they've lost they've lost 2 games now in the conference, and they're kind of sputtering down. They're still near the top of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that does take us to locks of the week. I'm going to give my locks. Of course,
Yep.
people probably love to fade them, even though I have made somewhat of a comeback. I'm going to bet money. I'm going to bet American currency on LSU to cover 5.5 against Arkansas. Yeah.
I hope.
Now,
Is what's
here's
his
the
face
thing.
playing?
Nesmeyer got benched. So if it's Michael Van Buren, America welcomes the Michael Van Buren show. It's a crazy roller coaster. I saw it for 8 games last season. He'll play really good, and then he'll make bonehead mistakes. But I also think Arkansas is just that bad. I think Petrino has coached himself out of being probably shoot in for the job. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the job come the day after the season. And it's the battle for the Golden Boot. I think is what they played for. So I love a good trophy game. But yeah, give me LSU minus the 5.5. And also my other one is Southern Miss. They're 7-2. They're one of the good teams in the Sun Belt. They're only 4.5 at home against Texas State. Give me Texas State. I think that's somewhat of a rat line. I think Texas State covers that spread. So Texas State plus the 4.5 and LSU minus 5.5 are my 2 locks of the week.
Corey, I'll let you go because I don't want to steal yours.
No. I got a couple. You go ahead, because I might steal your wagon. I'm not gonna lie. So you go ahead.
I was thinking about stealing both of his wagons, but then I stayed away. I wanted to let Ben have that.
No,
That's
what
why.
I'm gonna
No,
let-
I have a
I'm
bunch.
literally
I have a
have
bunch listed. I have a bunch
Me
listed.
too. No, me too. I have 4 listed right here.
Okay, so
Okay,
we both
F it.
want to take New Mexico State plus 40.
Yes. New Mexico State plus 40.5 all day. Tennessee, no way.
No, that might be
Okay,
the squad ride. We all might end up betting that because I
let's just
I saw
let's all
that and
throw
I was like,
10 on it. Let's all throw 10 on it real quick.
because I saw that and I was like, there is no possible way that Tennessee is gonna cover that because their defense is New Mexico State's really good.
New
Like
Mexico
for
State always covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're. Well, let's look at the stats because
Well,
FanDuel does give you
well,
that.
let's switch it to a squad ride, and I'll do two other
Let's
locks
just
if that's okay. That's a
There we
squad.
go. Yeah, that's a squad.
All right, my other one. Wait, do I do one or do I?
No,
So do I
do
do one
two.
more?
Do two. Do two.
Two more? Okay. I'll do Mississippi State plus 7.5 Missouri.
Okay, that was a good one.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna go BYU minus 4.5 over TCU.
That's good. I like that.
Almost, I almost took the over in that game, but TCU's offense is so hit or miss, and BYU's defense is really good. It's a
Yeah,
high
no,
over,
I was looking
2.5.
I was looking up stats on TCU's defense. I was like, could they give do like create pressure like Texas Tech did and give Bear Bachmeier trouble? And I was like, I didn't see anything that led me to believe that TCU is going to be
Oh
able
no,
to stop BYU.
they. I don't. Yeah, like my whole thing with the over is I think BYU is going to win the game. Like I think they'll easily cover the 4.5. It's the over. The thing with the total that scares me is that BYU's defense. I mean, Texas Tech. Now their offense isn't the best. Like the quarterback's still coming back from injury, but they only put up like what was it 26, 27 against them last week. And I now some of that could have been I didn't watch any of the game because I was at work. But
29-7.
some of that could
Yeah.
have been play. Yeah, so some of that could have been play calling. Yeah, like hey, let's just hey, this we got this game in hand. Let's just run the clock out, get out of here. But Utah's offense, I think, has looked good at times, and they look terrible against BYU.
Yeah. Already. Let me. I will say that was a good pick on Mississippi State. That was one of my top four. But I'm gonna have to stick with my Notre Dame team right now. They're undefeated in my locks. So we'll go 12.5 Notre Dame. Even though it's an away game and it's a really high spread, but I still think they can do it. Um, I want to do this because I don't think it. Just for
We
the
can tell
money,
you.
for the
We can tell
huh?
you. We can
I'm,
give our input.
yeah, give your input on this. Okay, I'm in between Memphis money line because there's no way we would lose two in a row, and we're at plus money there,
Who are you
or
playing?
then
East
ECU
Carolina.
at
Okay.
ECU, or I was thinking Wake Forest playing UNC, but all that line did 9.5 because there's
I
at
had.
six and a half.
I'm gonna take Wake at the minus 6.5 in my
Mm-hmm.
parlay. So I'm fine with Wake minus 9.5. I think they're a really good
Mm-hmm.
team. That obviously they won last week. Um,
Yeah,
I think Memphis money line's probably a safer play, especially if that's plus money. Like
yeah. Well, it
I
was
trust
the
that
last
more.
time I looked at it. Okay, we'll go Memphis plus the money or money line.
I
Let's try to
trust
get
that.
some money. Let's try to get
I
some
trust
money
that
this
more
week.
than alting the Wake.
Yeah.
What
I don't know. I just thought 6.5 was like UNC's buns. Like they're not good.
They are. They've been playing better though. So it's just like
Oh, I haven't been watching. Oops. I guess I'm
It's
dumb.
more risky to alt that
I
up.
just I
I
just see
think.
I just see Bill Belichick and his girlfriend after the game. They're like, "Oh yeah, we won a game." Whatever. You ruined Mac Jones, but now we have Drake May, so that's fine.
Okay, so
It's
yeah,
not
I'll
like
take Memphis.
Mac Jones hasn't been amazing for the 49ers. So I mean, I see.
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
he's
Like,
been better than he's been with the Patriots, though.
Well,
well, I
yeah.
mean, well, that's what happened. Well, that's what happens when you have a competent offensive coordinator. Like when
Well,
Mac Jones had Josh McDaniels, he took the Patriots to the playoff as a rookie, made the Pro Bowl, and then Josh McDaniels went to the Raiders to be a head coach. And what did Bill Belichick do? Hey, I'm going to call two. I'm going to have Matt Patricia, who's only called defensive plays. I'm going to
Which
have
is
him be
dumb.
our offensive coordinator, and also Joe Judge, who just got fired by the Giants. He's like, I'm going to have the two of these guys for an offensive coordinator. Oh, Mac, you suck. Sorry, bud. And then you go with Bailey Zappi for the next season. what, like,
I'm just
whatever.
I'm just saying like the Patriots went downhill ever since Damian Harris isn't on the team anymore. So that's all I gotta say.
Well, Damon Harris is now on CBS Sports Network, so
He was a dog for y'all, and you just left him out to dry.
now we have Traydon Henderson,
It's okay. The
who will
Broncos
probably
really
cut in
went
4 years.
downhill ever since Paxton Lynch left. So I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So no one wants a Memphis
Okay,
coach or Memphis player because we're garbage, except for on defense.
so
Uh,
repeating that again, my lock is LSU minus 5.5, Texas Tech plus 4.5. Ben is BYU minus 4.5, Mississippi State plus 7.5. Corey's riding with Notre Dame 11.5 is what I got right here, minus 11.5.
Yep.
And Memphis money line. That parlay is plus 480. Excuse me, plus 4,855. So that's $10 pays out 485.
let's go.
Might have to sprinkle. Might have to sprinkle a little bit.
Little
I like
payday
all
right
those
there.
picks. I like all those picks. Get yourself a nice haircut.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get one tomorrow.
So you can go on the cruise.
Mine are easy.
Yeah.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Yeah, why don't you just go ahead and say why you're not going to be? Oh wait, I guess you have your parlays. Never mind.
Yeah. So my parlay is I also have Notre Dame minus the 11.5. I have New Mexico minus the 14.5. Took one of Ben's wagons. I have Utah money line over Baylor. I have the over in Texas A&M, South Carolina. I think A&M blows them out, and South Carolina might get Memorial Sellers might run for a touchdown while he's running for his life. And I have Georgia at minus 5.5. That is plus 1648 on FanDuel. $10 pays out. So that's 10 pays out about what 170. Yeah, 170. Yeah, 175.
My parlay of the week is everything that Aaron said, but the opposite. Fade, fade all day, baby.
Ben had a parlay he sent me, and I didn't post it, but he had a parlay he sent me in NFL, and literally every single pick lost. It's like, man, if you just faded them, you would have won.
That's how that works, huh?
That's insane, actually. All right. My parlay, New Mexico State covers plus 40.5 UT. We already talked about that. Mississippi State covers 7.5 over Missouri. We talked about that. BYU covers minus 4.5 over TCU. Wake Forest minus 6.5 over North Carolina. Virginia Tech plus 13.5 against Florida State. USC minus 6.5 against Iowa. UCLA plus 32.5 against Ohio State. My theory on that is just like Ohio State's gonna pull a lot of their players, and UCLA is gonna
No, I like
make
that.
it more respectable. Notre Dame minus 11.5 over Pitt, and then Kentucky minus 21.5 over Tennessee Tech. $10 pays 3,100.
Well, I'm gonna follow that except for that last one because Tennessee Tech's covering that.
Yeah, we
spread.
disagree on that.
That's okay. Remember, we disagreed on the Notre Dame one at 20.5 that one week, and who was right? Me by a point.
That's
But hey, it was still me.
That's true.
Was the Arkansas spread under 10, or am I like when Notre Dame played Arkansas, was that spread like
I
somewhat
think-
close?
Yeah.
Arkansas, because Notre Dame was 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also lost to good teams at the beginning of the game. I mean, they were one possession, but
Right, yeah.
No,
But yeah,
apparently
so,
no one knew that Arkansas's locker room was just like, screw this season.
yeah, hated their coach, hated every coach on the staff. Yeah, so Corey kind of mentioned it. I will be MIA next week. It's no qualms with anybody. I will be on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean,
no
sipping
qualms.
Mai Tai. No qualms. I will be on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean, sipping Mai Tais. Probably not Mai Tais, but some other beverages.
Sex
So,
on the beach.
But I will on the yeah maybe, but I will still be able to. I do have access to Twitter, so I'll still be able to run the Twitter. So please like the video, subscribe, like the tweets, retweet the tweets. We got a lot of engagement recently, so we really appreciate all that, and we'll keep putting out picks for you guys that probably won't hit, but you know what? it's all about making the buck when you can, guys.
That's right.
And I will say this: this has been a lot of fun. Seeing the engagement that we've had, especially on Ben's picks. Because hey, if you've actually been following Ben's picks for like first touchdown teams, you're probably profitable. And just take those guys to score anytime touchdowns or first time teams. You're probably, I mean, you're decent. Like you're not
Not in
you're good, but
parlays, but individually,
not in
yes.
parlay, not in parlays, but
If you
for the
sprinkle
love of
enough,
God, not in parlays. Yeah, yes. Just sprinkle like $1 on the parlay and then put like 10 on all those guys to do it, and you'll end up positive. But yeah, so yeah, I will be out. It'll be Corey Ben next week, and then I will be back for the Egg Bowl week. Will be our next show that I'll be on, and I'm not looking forward to that. I'm hoping Mississippi State's eligible by that point, so I don't have to worry about us needing to win that game to extend the season. But we'll see.
I think Mississippi State will win that game.
That's
I
crazy.
I'm just kidding.
That's crazy.
Trinidad
I don't
Chambers
know, are you?
for Heisman.
It's not
That's all I
crazy,
can say.
but
It's not. It's not. Anyway, I'll stop.
Ole Miss related, Lane Kiffin related. I was watching them. This is bonus content for if people have stuck to the end. I was watching a Matt Corral podcast that they just released like a few days ago, and
that was crazy.
I've seen some
he
clips.
said he was like hyping up trying to get Lane to the NFL so that he could get another NFL shot. I was like, Lane would do it for Matt. Like they had a good relationship, like a really great relationship. So that was a little scary, but
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, after Kiffin with the Raiders, I don't think anyone wants him in the NFL.
well, an Ole Miss reporter actually said just recently that Kiffin supposedly, if he were to go to the NFL, it would be for like the Miami Dolphins, and that's probably the only team he would do. And McDaniel's probably getting fired this year.
That's definitely gonna have. I mean, that job's definitely gonna be open. I don't know if he's gonna take it, but it's gonna be open.
Yeah.
He's not gonna go to New York or anything.
No.
And then
He really likes Jackson Dart, but I don't
Florida.
see that.
His dad was retired in Florida because he coached.
What'd you say, Ben?
I said he really likes Dart, but I don't see him
I don't
moving
see
to
him
New
going
York
to
just
New
for
York
Dart.
that.
No.
And those New York State.
I mean,
taxes,
I don't know.
things.
I don't know. Lane Dart and Scatteroo, that'd be nice. Oh, hello.
Cat bonus content. Aaron's cat.
Bonus content. You also get a cat appearance. But yeah, I saw that thing and like him talk about how he just walked past Belichick and was like, "Hey man, where you going?" He's like, "I don't know." And he just goes front of the trash, and the trash just walked out.
Oh, you talking about his mental health or whatever? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was scary. That was scary.
And my thing with that is, and this is somewhat bonus content. So again, if you're a real lover of the podcast that you're saying, then my whole thing with that is like he should get another shot because you can't. I mean, mental health obviously is a major thing, and you can't take when a guy like has a breakdown like he mentioned he had, and just say, okay, well he's like not, he doesn't love ball. Like he even said, like I knew I could still ball. I wasn't cut because of my ability. I was cut. I just left because I couldn't do it. But yeah, we don't have to get into that. That's a little more depressing kind of talk with everything that's going on in the NFL recently. But again, be Corey and Ben next week, and then I'll be back. Hopefully, Corey will come back and join us to mediate the Egg Bowl episode.
Oh, that'd be.
But yeah. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe. We actually have a Instagram as well where we'll be posting some pics as well, maybe some bonus content also.
And some clips.
And some clips, and also on Twitter. And who knows if the wife is willing to stick with me with the at the sports book in the gambling room that they have on this cruise. Might have some content to be posting as well. We'll see. It has to, of course, be kid friendly because we do try to have a kid friendly show. But anyway, like the video, subscribe. Again, shout out to Corey for joining us, and thank you guys for watching.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.